Hi, this is Remembering the Past, the show where we talk about people who've died recently who've had a profound effect on our history, our society, or our culture. Tonight we're going to start out with Jerry Dior, who died recently at the age of 82. Jerry Dior came from Brooklyn. He was a Brooklyn Dodger fan, but then he transferred his allegiance to the Yankees when the Dodgers left Brooklyn. But he was the creator of what's perhaps the most memorable logo in sports, the MLB logo. He designed it in 1968 for the 100th anniversary of baseball. He received no credit, no royalties until 40 years later at the 40th anniversary of the logo. Here he is talking about the logo on the MLB network.
It's been a silent yet unmistakable presence in baseball since 1969, the MLB logo. And here with us now is Jerry Dior, the creator of the MLB logo. Jerry, thank you so much for joining us here inside Studio 3. And, back in 1968, Major League Baseball commissioned your company to create a logo. What was the process like for you back then?
It was just a simple process. It was another job. It was only meant to be for 1 year, and it turned out to be 40. It meant a lot to me that I was able to do it, and it's been around for 40 years. The longevity of it has been fantastic.
When you say 1 year, I mean...
It was done for the 100th anniversary of Major League Baseball. And as far as I knew, it was supposed to be that 1 year, and then it was finished.
Wow. When I look at the logo, I go, Harmon Killebrew, Mickey Mantle. Who is it?
It's nobody. It's a graphic design. It's not Harmon. It's not Willie Mays. It's not Pete Rose.
You've heard them all, huh?
I've heard them all.
Who have you talked to? Have they all called you and said, that's me?
No, I talked to Harmon one time, and I had to tell him that it wasn't him. And
how'd that go over?
It went over pretty well. Harmon wasn't too happy, but it went over pretty well.
And how did the whole process come? I mean, how did you come up with the silhouette?
I went downstairs and got some magazines in the shop, and I came back up, and I looked through the magazine, and I saw some pictures, and I put them together, and I sketched them out and made some magic markers, and that was it. It was done.
How cool is it to see some of your work that has lasted this long? And not just lasted, it is a imprint across the whole world.
Well, what I'm proud of, it's been duplicated. So many other sporting events have, images have been copied from this. I'm really happy about that.
Now, the one thing, I look at the logo, and I can't decide if it's a right-handed batter or a left-handed batter. I mean, was there any thought process to that at all?
It wasn't supposed to be anybody. It was supposed to be right-handed, left-handed. No, it wasn't supposed to be a right fielder, left fielder, pitcher, or it wasn't supposed to be white, black, or nondescript.
How do you look at this now, and how proud of this are you now?
Very proud. I mean, because I feel it's part of baseball. It's been around a long time, and it hasn't changed. Nobody's changed it or anything. And in the art field, the design field, everything changes. Within a couple of years, it's gone. They fool with it, and they tweak it, and they change it, and this hasn't changed one bit, except for pointy nose. It was a square nose when I first did it. It's pointy now.
Really?
Which I hate.
What did you think when Major League Baseball called said, we're going to recognize you, 40th anniversary of the logo, you're the creator of it, and going to Yankee Stadium and Citi Field? What went through your mind when you got that call?
Wow. This is unbelievable. I can't believe it. I still can't believe it. It's amazing. I mean, for my family too, and the whole thing. It's unbelievable.
We're going to move on now to Meara, who died recently at the age of 85. Anne was a comedian and an actress, very talented, very intelligent, very pretty. She's best known for two things. She was part of the comedy duo of Stiller and Meara with her husband of 61 years, Jerry Stiller, and the mother of two famous actors, Amy Stiller and Ben Stiller. Anne Meara and her husband, Jerry Stiller, were struggling actors in the late 50s. Here she talks about it.
Well, tell me, how did the two of you meet? Did you start as a team? Or?
No, we didn't. Strange enough, we were actors. We worked in Shakespeare and Central Park, and we worked in all dead playwrights' plays, Chekhov, Turgenev, Ibsen, Shaw. Only we made $50 a week, and in Shakespeare Theater...
That was a long time ago.
Ushers made $55, I think, so we decided to get in the more lucrative end.
Well, were you married before you became a comedy?
Oh, yes, we were married. All this comes out of...
Well, for the children.
You can tell just from that she had a quick wit and a great delivery. They started doing two-person comedy, which was becoming very popular in the early 60s, and they performed on the Merv Griffin Show.
We did Jonah and the Whale, which I think I talked about earlier, about a man who goes to visit his daughter in Miami Beach. He goes up in the water. His name is Mr. Jonah. He ends up talking about the fact that he was swallowed by a whale.
That's right.
And
I interviewed him. I was
she
based on a character of a current interviewer at the time, or woman journalist named Pauline Fredericks.
That's right.
I believe, and I'm sure she's at the Academy somewhere on a piece of tape.
Yeah.
But he was great as Mr. Jonah.
Well, she was great.
They got their big break in 1963 on the Ed Sullivan Show with a routine about a blind date between an Irish Catholic girl and a Jewish guy. It's the old theme of Abie's Irish Rose that goes back to the 1920s and has been done over and over again, but nobody did it better than Jerry Stiller and Meara.
At what point did you create the alter egos that you used?
The alter egos.
Did we have alter egos?
I didn't know we were going to use words like alter egos. I'm so excited. I'm getting like a rush. Alter egos. Can we do that?
Does that mean that
You mean Hershey Horowitz and Mary Elizabeth Doyle?
alter ego.
Yeah, the uber Jewish guy and the uber Irish girl.
Yeah, Hershey and Mary Elizabeth. That was later.
That was Jerry's idea, to use and plumb the depths of our backgrounds, exaggerate them, and have the two differences of the Jewish and the Gentile.
Yeah, it came out of the need to find another piece of ourselves. We're running out of the tall woman and short
Jerry,
guy.
it came out of a need because we had a date on Sullivan like in a week and a half, and we had to have a sketch.
It was a desperation to
That's
come
what
up
it
with
was.
new music. We wrote every one of those sketches for that show between the two of us. Broke up a marriage almost.
Yes,
Our
it
children became estranged from us. They were living in the other room. They would come in and say that we were doing a
You
sketch.
see, you mercilessly exploit and say crap on television. That's caca. They said I could say
I'm
that.
leaving show business. You were pretty good up till now. You know that.
Sit up straight. Do you want a phone book to sit on?
Here's the opening of that famous sketch.
Thank you very much. Recently, there's been a lot of talk about computers in the newspapers. They've even managed to date people with the help of computers. So Jerry and I would like you to meet a couple who have been ideally matched by a computer, and they meet for the very first time.
How do you do?
How do you do?
I'm Hershey Horowitz.
I'm Mary Elizabeth Doyle.
Doyle?
Horowitz?
Horowitz. Horowitz. Hershey. My friends call me Hesh.
Doyle. Doyle. My friends call me Mary Elizabeth.
Doyle your real name?
Sure. Why wouldn't it be my real name?
I don't know. I mean, I was just hoping
No, we're Doyles. We're Dempseys on my mother's side.
Dempsey.
Horowitz.
Schmulowitz on my mother's side. This computer's a very good thing.
Oh, terrific.
I was reading all about it, you
Takes
know.
all the guesswork out of meetings somewhere.
Yeah.
Electronics, so you can't make any mistakes.
Just like Jerry Stiller, she went on to her own acting career, and she had a pretty good acting career primarily on television. Whenever they needed your stock Irish female character, they'd get her, so she had recurring roles on Archie Bunker's Place, Rhoda, Sex and the City. She actually had her own show for a little while. Kate McShane played an Irish attorney. It would have been a good show, but they never really developed her character as well as they should have.
I had a series called Kate McShane that lasted 10 minutes. We filmed 10 shows. They aired 9. Yes, I was queen for a day. It was in my grandiose period. It was great fun. I love one-camera film. I enjoyed that a lot. Well, the script was actually written for a man, described as a tall Kennedy-esque character. Then they made it a woman. Freddie Silverman was the head of CBS at the time. I guess I was one of Fred Silverman's mistakes, which, Fred, I apologize completely. They made it into a woman, but they never really made her a full-blooded woman. She had a father, the Irish father. She had a brother who was a priest. Charlie Haid played the brother. And Sean McClory played my father. I think he was only like 10 years older than me, or maybe a dozen or 15. And he had an Irish accent, and he always talked like that. But she had no love life. She was like, a nun. I don't know, but I did not take that news well. We were very sad, very sad. Because Jerry was doing a sitcom at the time called Joe and Sons, and that show was canceled too at a similar time. I think they told us, or, I never learned how to drive a car, and I figure I'm saving lives by not learning at my age. So it wasn't that suddenly my parking space was gone. A lot of people discover that way.
Meara, a witty, funny woman. We're going to close tonight with our feature, FAO Schwarz, the most famous toy store in the world. Been in Manhattan 145 years. It's known for the huge stuffed animals, the expensive toys, the kid-friendly environment. Been featured in a lot of movies, most famously in the movie Big, where Robert Loggia and Tom Hanks dance on a floor piano. FAO Schwarz isn't closing, it'll still be around, but the famous flagship store at 58th and 5th Avenue in Manhattan will be shutting down. It's one of the memorable landmarks in Manhattan. There's a big honkin' Apple store there now. Across the street is the Plaza Hotel. Kitty Corner is Central Park. It's just the place you go to bring kids. I brought all my kids there. Problem is, at that location, the rents were killing them. There's New York television on the closing of the flagship FAO Schwarz store.
Classic scene, the world's most famous toy store is closing. FAO Schwarz really became famous because of that 1988 movie Big. Tom Hanks playing the chopsticks with his feet on that giant floor piano. Well, the store is closing after 153 years. FAO Schwarz, though, will in fact have their branded toys still sold in Toys R Us stores. The company says it is trying to find a new location for a store in Midtown, but for now, FAO Schwarz closing their doors in July.
Here's a little history of FAO Schwarz.
150 years ago, a young German immigrant, Frederick August Otto Schwarz, had a vision to establish a magical toy emporium that featured extraordinary, one-of-a-kind toys from all over the world, while creating a theatrical experience to showcase merchandise in a way that would bring it to life. And so, a beloved brand was born, a brand that has become synonymous with quality and innovation, enchanted generations of kids, and created lifelong memories, all because of the vision of one man, who embodied the American dream and became a pioneer for the toy industry. 19-year-old Frederick August Otto Schwarz immigrated to the United States from Germany in 1856 to join older brothers Henry and Gus, who had done the same years earlier in search of a better life. Just 6 short years later, amidst the Civil War, the three brothers opened their first shop in Baltimore called Toy Bazaar. In 1870, Frederick moved to New York City and opened Schwarz Brothers Importers. Driven by a love of toys and his vision to provide children with the most amazing products, Frederick stocked his store with the most exquisitely crafted, novel playthings from Europe and created elegant displays that attracted children and parents alike. This led to the U.S. introduction of never-before-seen specialty items, such as the Steiff teddy bear, Madame Alexander dolls, and Gun stuffed animals, as well as the perambulator, the modern-day baby carriage. The store became even grander at Christmas time, and because of Frederick's resemblance to Santa Claus, children had secret suspicions that he was the one and only. Over the next 30 years, Frederick's business prospered, and he moved to larger, more prominent locations throughout New York City. In 1876, he issued the Schwarz catalog, creating one of the first mail-order businesses in the U.S. By the end of the decade, Frederick had changed the name of the store to FAO Schwarz, and he was considered by many to be the largest toy dealer in the world. In 1911, after enchanting children and adults alike for 50 years, Frederick August Otto Schwarz passed away, but his legacy lives on in his beloved brand and in the indelible mark he made on the toy industry. Over the next 100 years, FAO Schwarz evolved from a toy store into a must-see destination. Today, visitors from all over the world come to the landmark store to be greeted by real-life toy soldiers. FAO Schwarz has also drawn acclaim for its own line of quality branded toys. Frederick's namesake store is itself a pop culture icon. Through the ages, it has been the subject of classic depictions of kids and kids at heart, including a 1930s cartoon in The New Yorker, and starring roles in countless major motion pictures, perhaps none more renowned than Big in 1988, in which actors Tom Hanks and Robert Loggia dance on the store's giant foot piano. 150 years after opening its doors, FAO Schwarz is the oldest toy store in the United States and one of the oldest retail establishments of any kind, all because of one man's dream, who best summarized his life's work by saying simply, "I have made toys my life study." It is a splendid issue, and aside from the commercial question, there is more solid satisfaction in dealing with childhood playthings and in knowing the joy one is sending out into the hearts of the little ones than in selling any other commodity in the world. Frederick August Otto Schwarz, the creator of wonder and enchantment for past and future generations of kids. His everlasting impact on the toy and retail industries is undeniable, and for that, we salute him.
Well, I'm going to close on that note. I want to thank my producer and IT genius, Sid Tepp. Since the final trip to FAO Schwarz, we're going to play a 1903 song written by Victor Herbert, recorded in 1955 by one of my favorite singers, the incomparable Joe Stafford. This is Toyland.
Toyland, Toyland, dear little girl and boy, once you pass it